Good morning from South Africa. I'm your host Cheyanne and welcome to Cheyanne's Jewelry Podcast. And today's podcast is going to be about me. Who am I? And when I tell people my name, sometimes they don't believe me, especially on Instagram or Facebook. And because not everyone uses their real names on Facebook or Instagram. And this came about which I'll tell you later again, is when I lived in Durban with my parents, I worked at a strip club as a waitress called Teasers, and of course I used my real name, and people assumed that Cheyanne was not my real name because who at Teasers uses their real name? So anyways, who am I?
My naam is Cheyanne. Ek is Beau Brummell se dogter.
My naam is Cecilia. Ek was Beau se vrou gewees. Ons was 54 jaar getroud voordat hy weg is. En mis hom verskriklik. Mis hom baie.
Naturism, nudism or free body culture began in Germany at the turn of the century and rapidly spread throughout Europe. Today, of course, it is acknowledged and accepted by all responsible governments throughout the Western world as a legitimate form of tourism and recreation. Is nudism or naturism something new? Or is it an offshoot of a promiscuous society? Or perhaps an inherent genetic urge to get back close to the natural elements of sun, air, and water? Perhaps we could take a different approach to this worldwide phenomena and use anthropology and paleoanthropology for our thesis.
I was born and raised in Warmbaths, now known as Bella Bella, and I grew up on South Africa's first ever nudist resort, Beau Valley. We were the largest, according to the Guinness Book of Records at that time. We were the largest. So I don't know what it is now today, who's the largest. But yeah, we were the largest nudist resort according to the Guinness Book of Records.
Ons het die eerste Suid-Afrikaanse nudistekamp was ons in gewees. En ons was in die boekie gewees waar hulle ons gehad het in die
Guinness Book of World Records.
Ja,
We were in there for the biggest nudist resort in the world.
Ja.
Beau Valley, a mountain estate exceeding 1,000 acres, is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest naturist facility in the world. Indigenous wild animals and an abundance of bird life make this resort unique.
I must tell you, my mom suffered a stroke about 3 years ago, hence why I came back from England. I lived there for 8 years. I worked as a security officer, and I came back home after my mom had her stroke. And so the snippets that you are hearing are from the TV program that my mom and I were on not long ago on TV, of course. And you can hear that, hence because her mind is not 100% since the stroke, we tend to finish each other's sentences.
Beau Valley was very popular in the early days, very family orientated. It was a beautiful place, in those days. Nowadays, there's too much that goes on around with naturism. It's nothing like it used to be anymore.
Vandag ons is by hierdie se mamma vir lunch. Môre ons is by daai mamma se vir lunch, and that's how it was, It was like one large family at Beau Valley. It really was.
You can see the kids are more freer the way they grow up. They see things different, the way of life. I don't know, they get a different attitude towards life.
My uncle, better known as Caveman McLeod, the name was given to him by my dad, because Ian built a home for himself out of stone on one of the mountains, on the side of the mountain at Beau Valley. So he was known as Caveman McLeod. Now you can read all about my uncle's story, Ian Caveman McLeod, because there was a story in another book about him building this beautiful home on the side of the mountain at Beau Valley, building it out of rocks. And so yeah, you can read about him in my book, which you can purchase from Amazon. It's called Growing Up in the Buff. And it's available on Kindle or paperback, so you can purchase either way. I hope you enjoy it. My dad, bless him, he's no longer with us. He passed away a year ago. He also has a few books available on Amazon. Once We Were Naked, Africa's Naked Tribe, and a movie script called Presidents, Pop Stars, and Pagans. Sorry guys, I must just apologize. I do have my microphone plugged in, but yet you can still pick up the hum of the computer, and I don't understand why. So if any of you out there who's listening to my podcast and maybe knows why, because I have it on a book, I have it on a solid surface, maybe what you should do is contact me and let me know why, you know. I really don't know why. Anyway, coming back to Presidents, Pop Stars, and Pagans. Both my mom, Cecilia, who is also famous in her heydays, and my dad wrote Presidents, Pop Stars, and Pagans, and during hard times. Now let me tell you about the hard times. Bow Valley was very famous in its heyday. We had so many people come and visit us worldwide. We used to have regular customers that actually became family, regular family members that used to come and visit us from Germany, from France, from all over, and they used to come every year on Christmas when it was nice and hot, because of course I think Germany at that time is like England, cold. So Europe. So we used to have regular people that used to come and visit us every year, sometimes twice a year. And then of course the locals from Pretoria, Johannesburg, and Wombats, Nailstrom. So yeah, Bow Valley was very popular in its heydays before my dad decided to turn it into a share block company, which was a very big mistake.
The shareholders never paid their levies. They chased away all our other customers and clients, you know, our weekend guests, day guests, and things like that. So slowly, Bow Valley started to go down. It got sold on public auction. Let's just say they never had respect for the beautiful place that we called home.
Here in South Africa, are they made up of Afrikaans, English, Italian? Concept. You mustn't just look upon it as being naked. It's being naked in harmony with nature, which encourages self-respect, respect for others, and most important of all, respect for Mother Nature and the environment, because we must take care of it. It's the only thing left for our children's great-grandchildren.
So there you go. We lost Bow Valley due to shareholders not paying their levies, and my parents practically walked away with nothing. So my dad had to sell Bow Valley on public auction, which I don't understand, because the property was fully paid for. And my dad bought Bow Valley after writing and acting in the movie 3 Bullets for a Long Gun, which was sold to Marion Films in 1971. And then of course he had the rights. So when Marion Studios went bankrupt like 3 months after purchasing 3 Bullets, the rights reverted back to my dad. So hence that's why no one else can buy it and sell it as their own, because it belongs to my dad. So those shareholders that never paid their levies became debtors, and when Bow Valley was sold on public auction, all the debtors rushed to their lawyers, however it works, claiming that they were creditors, and they walked away with more money than what they owed us, you know. And also when a business, a big business like Bow Valley, is sold on public auction, you have 3 months to pack your things up and leave. Well, the liquidators, there were 3 liquidators at Bow Valley at the auction. Usually there's only 1, but there were 3. And hence, you know, like I said, Bow Valley was fully paid for, so why liquidate the company and sell it on public auction? So anyway, there were 3 different auctioneers there, the liquidators, And of course all three of them are fighting amongst each other, saying, no, that person owes money, no, this one, no, that one must be paid, and blah blah blah. Like I say, some of the shareholders that owed my dad so much walked away with a lot more than what they owed us. This losing Beau Valley was a travesty of justice. Beau Valley was sold for $900,000, and my parents walked away with less than half of that money, because all the debtors went and got paid and not the creditors, which I find is very wrong. Travesty of justice. My dad tried to open up a bed and breakfast called Rainbow, R-A-I-N, Rain, B-E-A-U, Beau, Rainbow. And but because of his name, everyone thought Rainbow was open up closer to Nailstrom, just after Wombard's, on that Nailstrom road. Anyways, so because Beau is associated with nudism, that bed and breakfast never worked, so we lost that as well. And also, the liquidators that sold, that helped sell Beau Valley, or stole Beau Valley, they said to us, if we leave within 1 month, not the 3 months that I mentioned earlier, that if we leave in 1 month and we find another place, they will make sure that that place gets paid. And of course it didn't. So again we sat homeless for the second time. And then after all that, my dad said, Rainbow's not working, there's nothing we can do. So they moved down to Durban to go and live with my dad's sister, and then later on with friends. So they lived in Durban for 5 years, and I met up with them 2 years later. So I lived in Durban for 3 years. And then after living in Durban for 3 years, them for 5, we moved down to Bronkhorstspruit, and God bless my my dad's mom, she bought the house that we're living in today in Bronkhorstspruit. So we've never had it big again since Beau Valley. Anyway, so while I was in Durban, I worked for Teasers as a waitress, and boy did I make money. I made money, let's put it that way. I never became a stripper, because that nudism there is not Beau Valley nudism. It's, I don't want to put a name to it. So anyway, yeah, so there, coming back to Teasers, I worked at Teasers as a waitress, and of course not everybody uses their real names at Teasers. So when I told them my name, they were like, really? No, what is your real name? And I said to them, my name is Cheyanne. So that was the hard times that we hit, losing Beau Valley and then of course Rainbow. So then while in Durban, both my mom and dad wrote that movie script, Presidents, Pop Stars and Pagans. And so yeah, anyone out there who's interested in this movie script, you can buy the book from Amazon, also available on Kindle or paperback. And read about it and approach us, can make us a deal, because like I say, it is a movie script. My dad knew how to write movie scripts, hence that's why he wrote 3 Bullets for a Long Gun. So yeah, anyone out there that wants to make us an offer, please do so. We're trying to make a living here. I still want to move to Canada. And if I do ever move to Canada, hopefully, I'd like to take my cat with. And I know that is possible to take your animals abroad. So that's what I'd like to do. So I'd like to save up enough money to take my little baby, my little fur baby with me. And I have 3 animals buried in our garden that I'd like to cremate and take them with us as well. Take them with me as well. My mom, she's welcome to come with me, but I think she wants to be with her son instead in England. I know with podcasting you have to have a certain amount of followers before you earn money. So if you would like to donate to my cause, you can do so on the show support link below in my bio. and in my description. And of course, if you would like to do podcasting, you can also click on the refer a friend link, because then you get paid and I get paid as well. So either way, guys, thank you. So yeah, I don't want to make this podcast a pity party, but we've never hit it big again since Bow Valley. While I was working at Teasers, I looked after my family financially for 4 years. 4 or 5 years, because I was capable to work. My parents weren't. They were at that age where they couldn't work. So I was capable to work, and like I said, if it wasn't for Teasers, I don't think we would have been able to survive. So I supported my mum and my granddad, and so did my dad's sister. So yeah, there you go. So I left Teasers to go and work for Pick n Pay in Athlone Park, and I was there only for maybe about 6 months or so, and then my dad decided to move down to Bronkhorstspruit, where my gran bought the house for us, and that's where we still live today. And so I left that Pick n Pay and joined the one here in Bronkhorstspruit, and did a few odd jobs here and there and things like that afterwards. And then I left for England for the first time. Lived in England for 9 months in 2007, and then I came back, and when I came back I landed up working for physiotherapists here in Bronkhorstspruit for 2 years, and then after those 2 years, that's when I left for England the second time for the 8 years. I forgot to mention earlier in the podcast that when I was living with my parents in Durban, both my mom and I picked up making jewelry. She does the chunky kind of jewelry, and I do the fine kind of jewelry. My chunky looks very funny. So anyways, we used to sell our jewelry at the flea markets held on Thursdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, or I think it was just Thursdays, at the Amanzimtoti Sports Grounds. So I've actually made jewelry on and off for about 20 years now. And of course I didn't pick it up when I went to England and things like that. So it's only when I've been back here in South Africa where I've made my jewelry. Which you can check out my web page to see my beautiful jewelry, cheyannesjewelry.com. Make sure about the spelling. And of course, if you would like to purchase my jewelry and you are living in South Africa or you're close by to Bronkhorstspruit, you can come by the Mengelmoes shop and come and pick up your unique, one-of-a-kind jewelry. And so yeah, that's about it. So I'll be finishing off my podcast with a song that my dad wrote while living at Bow Valley, called The Garden of Eden. Enjoy, guys, and remember, take care and stay safe, adopt and don't shop.
Beautiful woman, and you know how so grand.